Namaskar and good afternoon. Again, a very warm welcome to all of you to this special briefing. It is special because it is not a regular briefing, which means that we will confine our presentation and our briefing on Prime Minister's upcoming visit to China and Myanmar from 3rd to 7th September. The Secretary concerned and Joint Secretary looking after the multilateral economic relations, they are already in China for the summit. With me is my colleague, Ms. Sripriya Ranganathan. She is Joint Secretary, Bangladesh and Myanmar. She will be touching upon Prime Minister's visit to Myanmar. But before I hand over the floor to her, I have a readout on the BRICS Summit itself. We have already announced through a press release on 29th August that Prime Minister will be visiting Xiamen in Chinese Fujian province from 3rd to 5th September 2017 to attend the 9th BRICS Summit. The theme of the 9th Summit is BRICS, a stronger partnership for a brighter future. Let me just take you through the program. Prime Minister will arrive in Xiamen in late evening of 3rd September 2017. There is no engagement on the first day. Next day in the morning, there will be a welcome ceremony and a photo op, which will be followed by a BRICS restricted session. It is expected that discussions during this session will focus on global economic situation and international economic governance, national security and development, and international and regional issues. This will be followed by a BRICS plenary session, where the leaders will discuss the practical cooperation for common development, people-to-people exchanges, and cultural cooperation and institutional building. In the evening, there is an opening ceremony of the BRICS Cultural Festival and Cultural Exhibition, followed by meeting of the BRICS leaders with BRICS Business Council. During this dialogue, the chairman of the China BRICS Business Council will submit his report, and another report will be submitted by the president of the New Development Bank. Immediately thereafter, again we are still on the 4th of September, the documents for the BRICS summit will be signed. It is expected that there will be at least 4 such documents. BRICS Action Agenda on Economic and Trade Development is the first one. BRICS Action Agenda on Innovative Cooperation is the second one. Third is Strategic Framework of BRICS Custom Cooperation, and the 4th document will be MOU between BRICS Business Council and New Development Bank. In the evening of the 4th, the BRICS leader will be joined by the leaders of the 5 guest countries and their spouses for a welcome ceremony and a banquet. These 5 countries are Thailand, Mexico, Egypt, Guinea, and Tajikistan. We move to the next day, which is the 5th September. There is a BRICS Emerging Markets and Developing Countries Dialogue. This is an opportunity for the BRICS member countries to exchange views with the developing world and to build broader partnership for development. In the afternoon of the 5th, Prime Minister will depart for the second leg of his tour to Myanmar. To give you a background, BRICS brings together 5 major emerging economies comprising 42% of the world's population, having 23% of global GDP and 17% share in the world trade. BRICS cooperation has 2 pillars: consultation on issues of mutual interest through meeting of leaders and ministers, and practical cooperation through meetings of senior officials in a number of areas including trade, finance, health, education, S&T, agriculture, communications and IT, etc. Other BRICS exchanges can be broadly characterized as parliamentary exchanges, ministerial meetings, working groups, and senior officials meeting. It also includes people-to-people exchanges and many other similar exercises. Through a network of high-level and working group meetings, BRICS agenda has expanded considerably to include issues of mutual concerns. In the run-up to this summit, several ministerial meetings in different sectors have taken place. We, of course, attach importance to our engagement with BRICS, which is an important platform to discuss economic and trade issues, as well as other contemporary issues of mutual interest. This ends my readout of Prime Minister's visit to China to attend the 9th BRICS Summit. Now I pass on the floor to Sripriya to brief you on the second leg of the trip to Myanmar. Sripriya.
Good afternoon, all of you. As you know, the Prime Minister of India will be paying a state visit to Myanmar. The visit begins on the 5th of September and will last till the 7th of September. He had last visited, that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi had last visited Myanmar in November 2014, but that was for an ASEAN-India summit. That was not for a bilateral meeting. This is therefore his first bilateral state visit to Myanmar. We have had some outstanding interaction with the government of Myanmar since the new government came into office in April last year. The President U Tin Chaw had visited India in August 2016 on a state visit. State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi had visited in October last year. These are all incoming visits and we welcome them greatly. We have also had a number of occasions for interaction between the Prime Minister, the External Affairs Minister and the Myanmar leadership on the margins of various other multilateral meetings to which both have been present. So we regard this visit as an important visit, but one in a series of ongoing interaction which we hope will continue in the future. I'll just give you a little bit of detail about the program content. Prime Minister will reach Naypyidaw, which is the capital of Myanmar, on the afternoon of the 5th from China. He will have a ceremonial welcome. He will call on the President, U Tin Chaw, who will host an official banquet for him. The next day, there would be the formal set of meetings with the State Councillor, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, followed by the signing and exchange of agreements and a joint press conference. He will then proceed to Bagan, which is a very well-known heritage city. In fact, a place where India is also involved in some leading development cooperation projects. He will see the kind of work that is actually being carried out by the Archaeological Survey of India on the Ananda Temple. He will then move on to Yangon, where he will have a series of engagement. He meets with the large Indian community of Myanmar. He will, of course, visit the Shwedagon Pagoda. He will pay tribute to General Aung San at the Mata's Mausoleum. He will also visit a very famous Hindu temple and pay tribute to the shrine of Bahadur Shah Zafar. After that, he returns to Delhi on the afternoon of the 7th. We have a few important agreements in the pipeline, which we are hoping to sign during the visit. These are in a range of sectors which we believe have a lot of promise for the relationship. These include maritime cooperation, health, some development cooperation projects, culture, and capacity building. We find that this visit will be an occasion for us to not only review our ongoing development cooperation partnership, which is a very, very vibrant aspect of our relationship. As you know, the bulk of the projects that we currently have in active phase of implementation, and many of which have actually just about been completed, are those which were conceived of and agreed upon with the previous government of Myanmar. So we will take stock of those projects, where we stand on the Karadan project, on the Trilateral Highway project, on the Myanmar Institute of Information Technology, and so on. And we will also discuss the kind of projects which the new government has on its priority list and which it would like to partner India with in the process of execution. We will be guided by the government of Myanmar in terms of the choice of projects. The stated priorities of this government are infrastructure, power and energy, and we believe that these could be areas where there is a great deal that Indian agencies can bring to the table. We will also continue our fairly robust training and capacity building program, and we believe that in the course of this visit, a few more strands of this program would emerge. Just a few basic facts and figures on the kind of the foundation of our bilateral cooperation. You know that Myanmar is a neighbor. It is a friendly neighbor. It is a neighbor with which we share a 1,600-kilometer long boundary. We have had traditional ties of kinship, which link the people who have been living along this long border. We have 4 states which are actually sharing a border with Myanmar. Our bilateral trade is currently in the region of about 2.2 billion, and there is a reasonable balance of trade. We have invested about $750 million in Myanmar by way of both public and private sector investment. 4 Indian banks have recently established a presence in Myanmar: State Bank of India, United Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, and Exim Bank. And we believe that through the good offices of these banks also, the kind of trade and commercial relationship will really receive a boost. Our overall development cooperation program with Myanmar is actually quite sizable. We have a commitment of $1.75 billion, of which the bulk of it is by way of grants and aid. We also find that Myanmar is a very, very important partner for us in both our Act East policies and our Neighborhood First policy. ASEAN being an area of focus for India's cooperation agenda, we find that again Myanmar is a very natural partner. It is our gateway to the ASEAN, and we treat it as such. We are also working very closely with Myanmar within the framework of BIMSTEC, to which we are attaching a great deal of importance. Both of us are attaching a great deal of importance. And our joint focus is on enhancing connectivity, trade, energy, and people-to-people contacts. So on the whole, we see this as being a very, very important visit, and one in which we will provide yet another opportunity for the Indian and the Myanmar leadership to build on the rapport that they've already developed and take the relationship forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Priya. Just to share with you that on the BRICS itself, when we are there, I think a lot of your colleagues will be there as well. So we might have a briefing on the second day, which is the 4th, after at least part of the program is underway, and some of them will already be over. So we are looking at a briefing session, so perhaps on the 4th. And there you can address some of the questions and substantive questions related to BRICS. Now the floor is open for questions. Yes, you are first.
Smita Sharma.
Yes, Smita.
Is there any proposal from the Indian side for a bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping? And to Shri Priya, on the issue of the Rohingya Muslims, while it's become a crucial issue, one that also impacts one of India's, the other neighbor, which is Bangladesh. What really is the kind of discourse happening on this issue? And, is India kind of moving away from its commitments when it comes to its refugee policy?
You want to address that? You want to take a few? Yeah, we can just take, yes, please.
Zaka Jacob from CNN News 18. Does the Prime Minister have any bilaterals with any of the other visiting heads of government on the sidelines of BRICS? And 2, since this year's theme is strengthening partnerships and they've invited 5 observer countries, I just want to know what is the Government of India's take on the expansion or the potential expansion of BRICS? Thanks.
Parikshit.
So considering that very recently we've resolved the Doklam dispute, are there going to be any talks between both sides at any level to just probably take it further or ease tensions further?
I think we will answer these 3 questions first.
The issue of the Rakhine state is, I think the lady over there asked. It is a matter of great concern. You would have seen that there has been a particularly prominent attack recently in which a large number of people have lost their lives, and we have reached out to the government of Myanmar after this attack as well to see what is the state of play and what can be done. You would also have seen that the advisory commission, the National Advisory Commission under the leadership of Kofi Annan, has recently submitted its report. It is a fairly elaborate report with fairly exhaustive recommendations. We are told by the government of Myanmar that they are giving very careful and positive consideration to the recommendations in this report. We will be discussing how India can help them in addressing the situation that is prevailing in the state. As to the refugee policy, I don't think there is any change in India's long-stated policy. Insofar as illegal immigrants are concerned, that is again a very long-standing and established procedure on the basis of Indian law, which we will continue to follow. There is absolutely no change. I'm sorry?
Has Bangladesh picked up this discourse with you?
Bangladesh?
Yeah, because it's impacting them also adversely, the Rohingya issues.
I guess all the countries which are impacted and the international community as a whole, everybody who has a concern has been talking about this. But ultimately it is for the government of Myanmar to figure out how best to address the situation which prevails in the state.
बाद में करना पड़ेगा ये. Smita, coming back to your first question and perhaps other questions on the bilateral meetings, expected question, and perhaps you will get a very expected reply from me, which is that it is a common practice at such multilateral forums that there are bilateral meetings which are arranged on the sidelines of the summit. At this stage, it is still developing. There are several factors involved. We will share with you as and when the meetings get confirmed, maybe a day prior to the meeting, maybe a day and a half. But I am not in a position to share the timings and the details of meetings which have already been confirmed. And this includes within the BRICS member countries and also the guest countries who have been invited by China. To the question regarding expansion, you see, I think you would be aware that the host country, they have the right to invite countries, to participate as guests during the BRICS Summit. If you recall, the BRICS Summit in Goa last year, we had invited the BIMSTEC countries to come and participate. It should not be related to any expansion of BRICS at this stage. Parikshit, you try to bring in Doklam through BRICS. Since I have not confirmed any meeting, I think it is very premature to share with you at this stage what are the issues which will be discussed with other leaders. Thank you. You first, उसके बाद आप.
सर, चीन की तरफ से एक दिन पहले ही ये कहा गया वहाँ कि आतंकवाद और पाकिस्तान का मुद्दा इस ब्रिक्स मीटिंग में ऐसे फोरम पर ना उठाए कोई कंट्री, खासकर भारत को लेकर कहा गया है. तो क्या भारत आतंकवाद का मुद्दा उस फोरम पर उठाएगा या फिर जिस तरह से चीन ने कहा है कि इस पर उठाना उचित नहीं है, उसकी बात?
देखिए, एक जो डॉक्यूमेंट है, जो डिक्लेरेशन होता है हर एक ब्रिक्स समिट के बाद, वो अभी डिस्कस हो रहा है. हमारे ऑफिशियल्स वहाँ पर हैं. जो जॉइंट डिक्लेरेशन होता है उसमें काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं. इस स्टेज पर मुझे बताना कि उसमें क्या है क्या नहीं है वो प्रीमेच्योर होगा. मेरे ख्याल से ये डॉक्यूमेंट जब तैयार हो जाएगा, जब ये रिलीज़ होगा 4 को, तो सबको पता चल जाएगा. उसमें फिर हम देखेंगे क्या है. मेरे लिए ये भी कहना बहुत उचित नहीं होगा कि प्रधानमंत्री अपने इंटरवेंशंस में किन किन बातों पर का मुद्दा उठाएंगे. Just to translate in English, he asked whether the issue of terrorism and Pakistan will figure in the discussions or in the outcome document, My reply is that the document is still a matter of discussion between the member countries, not yet finalized. So we will not be in a position to share what is in the document and what is outside. And the same applies for Prime Minister's meetings with other leaders as well.
The Chinese foreign minister only 2 days ago advised India to learn lessons from the Doklam incident.
As I told you that the questions should be related to BRICS and Myanmar, so basically related to the upcoming visit of the Prime Minister to China and Myanmar.
And Prime Minister is going to China since because of that.
No, it doesn't fall in that category. I'm sorry. आप अखिलेश जी आप
So, but is it a prevalent tradition that any host country can put a condition that the participating countries should not speak this or should not speak that? Is it a tradition? And sir, are NSAs meeting in China, Indian and Chinese NSAs?
To answer your first question, your intervention or any leader's intervention is that leader's intervention. So you are free to speak whatever you want in that conference. But as far as the declaration document goes, it is achieved through consensus. Discussions take place between different parties, and then you reach a consensus, which is the final outcome document. So I hope I was able to clarify the point. What was the second part of your question? The NSS meeting took place last month, I think end of July, right? No, I'm not aware of any such meeting which is being planned. Sorry. 2 to 3 questions now and in one go. Up.
Well,
okay, no, please go ahead.
well, my question relates to Myanmar. That whether the Rohingya crisis, whether India is looking at from a only security angle or it's also humanitarian angle is there, because already United Nations Human Rights Watch body has commented on it. The crisis of the people and the innocent people are being harassed, and they are now crossing over to Bangladesh and to India. There is a possibility.
सर, भारत म्यांमार और बैंकॉक के बीच में एक सड़क बन रही है, उसकी क्या अभी प्रगति, और प्रधानमंत्री के वहाँ जाने के बाद क्या उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि उसमें कुछ गति आएगी?
भारत म्यांमार और थाईलैंड बता रहे हैं ना? हाँ, ट्राइलेटरल हाईवे.
Ma'am, when Aung San Suu Kyi was here, she publicly stated that she wanted to know more, and obviously from the Indian government, about the surgical strike that happened from the Indian side into Burma. Also, the fact that even the latest intel reports, even yesterday's, speak of concentration, give you details of the presence of insurgents on the other side. Now, is this issue going to come up? Is Prime Minister going to raise these issues during the meeting? And also, sir, as far as China is concerned, is there a informal meeting between the two SRs likely on the sidelines of BRICS?
You want to go first?
The question about the Rohingya. It is a fact that the situation in Rakhine State has a variety of aspects. It has a developmental aspect, it has a humanitarian aspect, and it has a security aspect. And these are, I think, all aspects that have been, in fact, very correctly highlighted by the Kofi Annan in the report that they have recently submitted. So we are not by any means diminishing any of the aspects. They're all relevant, they're all important. What we have been trying to do consistently with the government of Myanmar over the past few years ever since the problem really acquired the kind of proportions that it currently has, is to encourage that government to find ways of stimulating some socio-economic development in that area, because ultimately if there is active economic activity in the state, I think many of the problems will actually at least reduce, if not completely disappear. We have also provided some assistance towards enabling this kind of constructive activity and efforts by the government to support communal harmony in the state. And we believe that this has been put to use, but there is a great deal more that needs to be done. We have also tried to focus some of our own developmental work in direct developmental work by activities in the state. As you know, the Karadan project is actually, it commences in Rakhine state, and we are very confident that once that complete corridor is functional, there will be a positive impact on the situation in the state, and we will continue to work with the government of Myanmar to see how much more we can do to support this. Coming to the question of the trilateral highway, I think this is one of any number of big projects that we have embarked upon. They are all in full swing. So the Prime Minister and the Myanmar government will undoubtedly take stock of where we stand and what needs to be done to give it the next push. But I don't see any problem as such in the project which needs to be overcome. It is in hand, let me put it that way. The question about the activities by the Indian Army along the India-Myanmar border last year, I think it is very well known that the actions that were carried out by the Indian Army were carried out along the border. It is a difficult border. It is a border on which the exact location of the boundary can sometimes be difficult to make out. So I don't think there is any misunderstanding between us and the government of Myanmar on what we sought to do and what we will continue to do. The problem of the activities of insurgents who are taking advantage of this kind of geography to work against Indian interests is something again which has remained a matter of discussion between the Indian and the Myanmar leadership. And there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that there is full confidence on both sides about the good intentions of the governments concerned and the desire on both sides to prevent any hostile activities from taking place from Myanmar soil into India.
हिंदी में बताना पड़ेगा. I think to your question on the possibility of SR meetings, you see, I think we know what this meeting is all about, the summit, which is for the BRICS. And I'm not aware of any possible meetings between the two SRs on the sidelines in Xiamen. Is that all? I think any other question which is not unanswered?
This is just a quick follow-on to economic development in Myanmar. I was just wondering if there was a sense about the political capabilities of the government in Myanmar right now. It seems that there's a lot of disagreement on what policies are being implemented and the sort of faith in the international community in Aung San Suu Kyi's government to actually push through with some of the economic reforms and other sorts of policies on security and other things that maybe people had expected before she took power. I'm just wondering what your analysis was and whether you thought that Indian firms operating there or foreign companies coming into Myanmar would benefit from added political stability and the sort of resolution of the sort of Rohingya Rakhine state difficulties. Thanks.
Yes, please.
So last year in the BRICS Summit, the Business Council recommended setting up a credit rating agency of the BRICS countries and also a reserve of own currencies. Actually, the credit rating agency did find a mention in the Goa Declaration. Has there been any forward movement on that front? And also, sir, about the new development bank, what are the areas where they have expanded in the last year since the Goa Declaration? If you can give a rough idea. Thank you.
If I understood your question correctly, you're asking whether the policies that have been adopted by the new government led by Aung San Suu Kyi, whether they are giving adequate comfort to foreign players, and you link that up with the overall political stability in the country. Now, I think that the government is a new government. It is obviously taking its own steps towards devising policies that it believes are correct for the future of the country and for the future of the people, and we totally respect that, and that is something that we would expect that Indian companies would also respect that and work with the Myanmar authorities to figure out how best their commercial interests can be fulfilled or advanced by the prevailing regulatory environment in Myanmar. We have no doubt that the opportunities for Indian companies and the kind of skills that they will bring to the table would be recognized and appreciated by the Myanmar authorities, and that they will find the space that they need to bring their own resources and their own skills to bear on the Myanmar economy. And yeah, obviously political stability is something which is essential for investor-friendly environment, and that is an area in which we wish the government of Myanmar very well.
On the question related to the BRICS Business Council, you are aware that this was set up in 2013 in Durban, and it has 25 senior leaders, industry leaders from all the 5 countries. We have 5 nominations from India as well. The Council has identified 5 sectoral working groups. You must be aware, in energy and green economy, infrastructure, manufacturing, skill development, and financial services. Coming to the Goa summit and what we agreed to, there were several recommendations which were made by the BRICS Business Council last year, and I'll just mention some of them. There was an agreement to have a BRICS Social Security Agreement, then Financial Framework for Sustainable Development, BRICS Infrastructure Project Preparation Facility, BRICS Trade Settlement in Local Currencies, BRICS Cooperation in Agribusiness, BRICS Cooperation in Energy, BRICS Trade Facilitation Network. All of them, they are work in progress, including the one which you mentioned about the credit agency. I think they are all work in progress. I'm sure at the upcoming summit, you will get a sense of how much we have achieved. Normally, the reports are submitted by the BRICS Business Council to the 2 leaders about the progress which has been made since the last announcement. And I think we should wait for the report which is going to be submitted by the BRICS Business Council. Yes, please.
संजीव त्रिवेदी, न्यूज़ 24। सर, जैसा कि अपेक्षित है कि ब्रिक्स के मंच पर आतंकवाद के ऊपर चर्चा होगी। अब जहां तक आतंकवाद का सवाल है, चीन मानता है कि पाकिस्तान का एक बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है आतंकवाद से लड़ाई में, जबकि हमारी सोच ये है कि आतंकवाद का पनाहगार है पाकिस्तान। तो क्या आप ऐसे में उस मंच पर मानते हैं कि ये जो मतभिन्नता है चीन और भारत की, ये आउटकम को प्रभावित करती है? क्या इसीलिए चीन चाहता है कि आतंकवाद पर भारत अपनी तरफ से कुछ ना कहे?
Yes, please.
Sir, I may have missed this when you said this before, so this is by way of a clarification. I'm just wondering whether India has sought any bilateral meeting with the Chinese president? Because I think I saw a statement from the Chinese side yesterday, the Foreign Minister Wang Yi saying that if requests come from the delegations, we will try and accommodate. Is there a retreat or any other, informal session or setting where there is a possibility of a meeting between the two, between our Prime Minister and the Chinese President?
I have shared the program of the entire BRICS Summit with you all, and there's nothing more which is outside or which is on the sidelines of what I have already shared. On the meeting itself, my submission is that please have some patience. We will very soon come up with who all the Prime Minister is going to meet. As you know that normally we make the announcements not too much in advance. There are 5, 6, 7 leaders, in town, and working out the timings, etc. is not so easy. So please have some patience. We will share with you the details of all the meetings as and when it comes to me. जो आपका सवाल है, देखिए हमारा जो रुख है आतंकवाद के खिलाफ वो किसी से छुपा हुआ नहीं है, और हमने हर फोरम पे कहा है कि हम उसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं. कोई भी रिलीजन, कोई भी मज़हब के नाम पे इसको सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकता है. इस स्टेज पर मेरे लिए ये कहना मुश्किल है, और मैं नहीं कहना चाहूँगा, मैं प्रीएम्प्ट नहीं करना चाहूँगा कि मेरे लीडर्स वहाँ पर क्या बोलेंगे. बट जहाँ तक मेरी इन्फॉर्मेशन है, ये मामला और ये इम्पॉर्टेंट मुद्दा है. हमारा पोजीशन क्लियर है. हमें थोड़ा सब्र करना चाहिए और देखना चाहिए कि हमारे जो प्रधानमंत्री वहाँ पर जाके क्या बोलते हैं, और हमारे जो डॉक्यूमेंट है, डिक्लेरेशन है, उसमें ये किस ढंग से बाहर प्रतीत होता है, बाहर निकल के आता है. ओके, basically the question was that whether we are going to project terrorism as one of the challenges being faced, and will our leadership or will our Prime Minister speak on this issue. I explained that our position on terrorism is very clear. We have raised it at different forums, different multilateral forums. It is not possible for me to preempt what PM will speak during his intervention during the BRICS restricted session and also during the BRICS plenary session, and also how and in what shape it is going to come out in the declaration document. One last question maybe.
Since leaders of India, China and Russia will be there, is there any possibility of India, Russia, China summit level meeting there?
I am not aware of any such meeting which has been planned at this stage. Okay, maybe we'll take one last round of questions.
Sir, what's India's position on the issue of expansion of the BRICS? Is there a particular position that you have taken? He's already answered. Okay.
सर वही सेम इशू था रोहिंगा वाले पर हिंदी में.
आप इतने देर बाद पूछ रहे हैं, मैं ही भूल गया.
आप बोल रहे थे ना, आप बोले बाद में.
मैं आपको बाद में बता दूंगा, है ना. हाँ. I just explained about the position of the expansion of BRICS. As I mentioned, that the countries which are participating, in getting invited by the host country to participate, it is not in the form of an expansion. These are outreach activities which the host country feels the other countries should be invited to, as we invited BIMSTEC countries. China has selected 5 countries depending on some criteria which they might have defined, and that is what I have to share on this. Thank you. Okay, with this we come to the end of the special press briefing. Those who are going on this trip with us to China and Myanmar, please look out for our announcements regarding another briefing, perhaps on the 4th and perhaps one while we are in Myanmar. Thank you very much. Namaskar.